Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak as most of us call him. He's one of the best NBA players we've ever seen, and in recent years has taken the NBA by storm. 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA selection, and 2019 NBA Most Valuable Player. The praise this guy is getting from the entire league is absolutely crazy. Well, unless you're talking about James Harden, but that's besides the point. Guys like Shaq, a 7'1", 325-pound monster in the paint, have said that Giannis is the most dominant player to ever play the game. Even more dominant than himself. That's high praise. We all know about Giannis on the court, but what don't we know about Giannis? Well, welcome to NBA Zone, and in today's video, we'll be going over 10 facts that you may not have known about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Before we do that though, make sure you guys are subscribed to us here at NBA Zone and that you have your notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on a single video. Now, let's get started. First, let's talk about where Giannis came from. He was born in Athens, Greece, so it's a given that he would grow up in the European basketball system, which typically involves young players being brought up through special sports clubs in an effort to breed them into being a professional. There's also a hierarchy involved for players at different skill sets. In the Greek Basketball League, there are 3 different levels. You have the Greek B Basket League, which is the 3rd and bottom tier. Then you have the Greek A2 League, which is the 2nd tier league, and then you have the Greek A1 League, which is the highest level of basketball in Greece. Well, Giannis never even made it to the highest level of basketball in Greece. The highest level he played at was the 2nd tier A2 League, and he actually had some major struggles at that level. During the 2012-2013 A2 League season, Giannis only averaged 9.5 points and 5 rebounds a game. Regardless, Giannis was a fan favorite, so he was selected to play in the Greek All-Star game that year. It's just crazy to think that Giannis is dominating the best of the best in the NBA now after not being able to get going against 2nd tier players in Greece. Just shows you how much Giannis has improved as a player, but also how different the European game can be. Next, let's talk about Giannis and his family and the basketball in their blood. We all know who Giannis is, but did you know he has 2 brothers in the NBA and another brother who will most likely be in the NBA? This family is absolutely insane. You have Giannis, the 3-time All-NBA selection and 2019 NBA MVP. Then you have Thanasis. Thanasis is the oldest of the brothers, and he played on the same Greek pro teams as Giannis coming up, and he was arguably better. The only difference was that he didn't have the same skill set as Giannis, and he didn't stand at 6'9" like his brother did at the time, so he was overlooked for his brother. He would spend some time in the NBA's G League, and then would return to Europe for 2 seasons. But that's when his brother Giannis would help him land a spot on the same team as him in Milwaukee. Then you have his brother Kostas, who wasn't a highly touted prospect out of college, but teams seem to think he has potential. He's been back and forth between the NBA and the G League, but has gotten a bit of a chance with the Lakers this year. Last, you have the future of the Auntie brothers, and that's the youngest of them, Alex. He's the number 3 ranked high school prospect in Wisconsin right now, and his highlights have gone viral a few times. It's safe to say that he's seen to have pretty good potential, and some seem to think he's going to be a surefire NBA player someday.
These guys. I think it's coasters, because he was always the middle child, and they paid more attention to him, so he wanted to get left out. So we got left out at the end. What?
Give me some. Yeah, give me some, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Plan B now. And I'm not talking about the kind your girlfriend uses. For most of us normies out there, we typically go into all situations with a Plan B. With NBA players, that can be a very different story due to the amount of money they typically make. With so much of a financial cushion, NBA players are typically set for life if they handle their money right. But for the fringe roster guys, this isn't always the case. They aren't always making enough money for it to last them a while. I'm talking 10-day contract type of guys. Those guys do typically have a Plan B and are prepared to take another path in life if basketball doesn't pan out for them. Giannis is one of these guys. He says that if he wasn't playing basketball, then he'd want to be a security guard. And I must say that something about standing at 6'11" would make you a pretty intimidating person. Luckily for Giannis, he's the one hiring the security, not being the security. Let's say he was a security guard though. I feel like he could probably just palm your entire head like a basketball and drag you out the club. Giannis's hands are ridiculously huge. Everyone calls Kawhi Leonard the Claw and raves about how big his hands are, but Giannis actually has even bigger hands. In fact, Giannis' hands are also bigger than LeBron's, Anthony Davis's, DeMarcus Cousins, and pretty much every other big man to play in the NBA. Giannis has the 3rd largest hands in NBA history, behind Shaq and Boban Marjanovic. Next, let's talk a little Greek law. Greek males between the ages of 20 and 45 are required by Greek law to perform military service. This applies to any individual whom the Greek authorities consider to be Greek, regardless of whether or not the individual considers himself Greek, has a foreign citizenship and passport, or was born or lives outside of Greece. So, you know what that means? Yes, during the summer of 2016, Giannis and his brother Thanasis were called to begin their mandatory military service in Greece. However, it was very short-lived. Because Giannis and Thanasis were considered permanent overseas residents, they were only required to serve for 3 months. Up next, we're going to talk about how Giannis took inspiration from all the Jake Paulers out there and absolutely dabbed on them haters. Athletes always talk about how those who don't believe in them are the ones that fuel them. And Giannis really takes that to heart. He thrives off proving the doubters wrong, and he has all the comments he needs as fuel to push him, even going as far to make those negative comments the screensaver on his phone. Giannis certainly has that Mamba mentality, and this is just one example.
Giannis looked like one of those stretch armor that got pulled too hard and never snapped back. You know what, Philip Sanchez? I don't even know what that is. Okay, so I don't care.
Which, speaking of Mamba, just like Kobe, Giannis signed a shoe deal with Nike, which just continued Giannis's barrage of breaking record. This made him the first ever international player with the signature Nike shoe after the Zoom 1 Freaks would release in April of 2019.
Never ever thought we'll have my own signature shoe, but at the end of the day, if you work hard and you really believe in yourself and you believe in your dreams, you know, stuff like this can happen.
Apparently, the road to signing with Nike didn't come easy though. Adidas made a strong push for Giannis, sending him a literal truckload of shoes that included Yeezys. Apparently, Chinese shoe brand Li Ning also made a very compelling offer, but neither offers were as enticing as Nike's long-term offer. And come on, it's Nike. It's the biggest athletic brand there is, and all the big names signed with Nike, so you had to see this one coming. You know what you couldn't have seen coming? Giannis becoming the superstar player he has become.
What is your goal for your career?
I want to be an NBA player.
I don't care who you are or what any NBA scouts were saying, no one thought Giannis was going to reach these heights, not even himself. So when he first got to the NBA and learned his family wasn't able to obtain American visas, he almost left the NBA to go back home. As a very family-oriented guy and a homebody like himself, this was very hard on him. Giannis watched his family struggle to obtain Greek citizenship his entire life, and he didn't want to see his family suffer through a similar process yet again. If he was going to succeed, he wanted his family there with him. Like I said, this would really weigh on Giannis, and he would tell his agent that he felt vulnerable and scared. This would lead to Giannis literally sleeping in the gym some nights because he, quote, had no reason to go home. Eventually, the family would get their visas though, and now the family stays tight-knit in the United States. Now, if you haven't gotten this memo at this point, then just know that the Antetokounmpo family had a very rough life back in Greece. The parents were 2 Nigerian immigrants, and per the usual case for immigrants, they started from the bottom. Seeing that his family could use a bit of financial support, Giannis would become a little businessman very early on. His brothers and him would take matters into their own hands to help support the family. Giannis and brother Thanasis would take to the streets to sell watches, bags, sunglasses, and other items to help their family get by. Luckily, that would all change once Giannis started playing basketball, and obviously nowadays, Giannis is making sure that his family has absolutely nothing to worry about. Now, to finish things off here, let's jump back to Giannis's Greek roots. He's clearly been very loyal to his country, and he's made sure to be a part of their national team. He is praised over in Greece, and he has remained grateful for the opportunities given to him on his way to stardom. Because of all of this, Giannis has actually said that when his NBA days are over, and he's around the age of 40, that he wants to return to Greece to play one last season of basketball. So that's going to do it for today's video. How do you guys feel about Giannis? Let us know down in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoy content like this, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.